So, is it going on or is it not going on? I believe that we've got to take a look at history. You need to understand when World War II was going on, even in the middle of it, they didn't look at it as World War II. I'm pretty sure that I'm telling you accurately. When they had a big war prior to that, it was called the Great War. Great meaning huge and big, not necessarily good and awesome. So this great war took place at the early part of this 20th century, and it ended around 1918, was it? And then as you get to 1919, 1920s began, and they were looking back and said, a lot of war, it was mostly a European struggle, similar to the one that they had 100 years before that, centered around Napoleon, and ended at Waterloo. So you could make those comparisons, and you have this approximately 100-year gap. They didn't call the Great War World War II and then call the Napoleonic Wars World War I. Nobody thought of that. Because really, they look at a big change that happened as the Industrial Revolution took place in the late 1800s and going into the 1900s. You had a lot of machines. You had the involvement of air power. You had the involvement of rocket science eventually. You had the involvement of chemical warfare. You had the involvement of ironclads that were becoming much more the naval power as opposed to the sailing wooden vessels that they used to fight with in the armadas back in the days. So you had a lot of sweeping changes to military conflict. And with that Great War, you see all of that. You see the mustard gas, you see the gas masks in the trenches, you see rapid fire killing, you see spying and all kinds of things going on with the aircraft. Just a big mess, big mechanized chaos. And essentially that's why you can reason and rationalize and justify calling that first Great War World War I. And then therefore they're going to compare it with the war that followed and rename that World War II. So the reason why I'm explaining all this about history as I see it, in the 1940s, when everything was going on, it was just looked upon as conflicts, military intervention. The Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor, we're going to have to strike back at them. Today it's widely questioned, or even people are damn sure that it was a false flag. People look at the fact that we had to, I'm sorry, not we, but Roosevelt and the United States power had to be invoked by the pact that was with Britain at the time under Churchill, and connecting it with all the other mainland European alliances, including France. What then escalated into a much more complex conflict, pretty much all-out war, leaving no continent untouched. But I think the bulk of the war you could see touched England, Europe, Russia, China, Japan, and the Pacific. North America and South America, the entire New World, Western world, was not necessarily that affected. But nonetheless, they call it it's World War II. Now, fast forwarding to today, now that we've had our history lesson, and by the way, I didn't do it justice by any means. You know, I don't really like to talk about these things lightly when I'm just getting fully aware and talking about millions and millions of people and their karma and this pain and suffering, and then the ongoing pain from the emotional hurting of their families and their loved ones. It's just phenomenal what a problem we have on the planet. But today, it's still going on. And there's a way that they veneer it over. And the sickening, that's reprehensible, that is inexcusable to the way they candy coat and lie about it. And they act like, you know, we're not doing this, or we're just providing air coverage. And now, in the last 24 hours, the news that has come out that they, you know, I guess it's the United States power decided to tell us that troops are on the ground, boots are walking around in Jordan, and they're at the border to, you know, make sure something about Syria. It's intimidation. It's showing that Jordan is colluding in this. Jordan, of course, just like Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Turkey, Lebanon. What's next? So then you got to ask yourself, as you get disgusted by seeing more of this, and by seeing more of it, and people with their video game mentality of and then they just open up live. It's like, hey, it's a live video game. Let me shoot everything that moves. Ha 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 ha. Yeah, I'm going to get out there too. I'm going to kill all of you. About time someone goes out there and kills every one of them. So let's add up all the players in the conflict. Because Russia's threatening and, you know, trying to get their best edge on it. China's threatening. India's threatening. Pakistan's threatening. Who else? Is Brazil going to get in on it? Is Mexico going to get in on it? No, they're going to be neutral. Is Argentina going to be in on it? How about Korea? How about Australia? Oh, they're just going to do whatever. Whatever. They go along with Britain usually. What about Egypt? What about South Africa? Okay, so you add up all this like you know, some big chess game, big war game on the board, and to me, it seems like this thing's been going on for a while. It seems like the prelude to this war is on and has been on, and I have spoken on it already. It's like frogs in boiling water. See? Because they just turn it up a little increments, and the frogs are just swimming around in a pot of water. They don't know they're in this big cooking kettle. That's what's going on. You know, it's going to be seen as just a long prelude. Is the Cold War really a part of World War III? That's a mysterious thing to ask, but yeah, I guess so. I guess so. I mean, it's not a. You want to call it this because it's no shooting match going on and it's just cessation. It's not really. It's not. It's not. Well, what is it in Korea? The Korean War. What's the Vietnam War? What is all this? What's the fighting between Pakistan and India? What's the fighting between Ecuador and Peru? What's the fighting between Colombia and Venezuela? The fighting in Central America, the Contras, the Nicaragua, the this and the that. And all these revolutions going on in Africa or Bolivia or Uruguay and taking out leaders and puppets and coups d'etats. All of it's connected. It's all a big war. What are we looking for to actually officially call this World War III? What? What do you want? What do you want? Someone to officially say, you want the President of the United States to come out and say, well, I officially declare today as the first day of World War III, and we're going to make this a national holiday. Every year we're going to celebrate. What do people need to be able to say that, to answer this question? And I'm not mocking anyone. I'm just saying this as satirical about human civilization. Is it sad? Yeah, it's sad. I wish I was the one that was in the leadership role, because I have some solutions and I can take the pressure. In fact, I think I perform better when there's too much going on and when there's too much at stake and when everybody else doesn't know what to do. I think that is my time to shine. So, am I afraid of World War III? No. Do I really want all the pain and the suffering? No, not at all. But I do know that it's a matter of karma, and I was very close with someone. Let me give you a personal thing here, so I can tell you that death is no joke. I had a biological brother that I spent my childhood with, and he's no longer on the planet. And this has been from a long while ago, because I'm actually quite an old man right now. But I remember, and I look back on it, and I say, wow, and he's gone, and that kind of death, and that suffering, and that mark that it leaves, it's no joke. And the fact is that we are in a war. We have violent action going on all over the place, and it's all a struggle for money and who's going to control the planet globally. There are industries tied in with this war that we need to become aware of. There are industries that will play on you. They will work every gullibility that you have. And that's why I'm out here doing what I'm doing, and I appreciate you listening, because I know that we're connecting. We are agreeing on the important things. We're taking care. I just reassure you of the things that you need the confidence in. The confidence in yourself, to think for yourself, to be aware this is going on. It can't be covered up from you. It can't be hidden. We are in the midst of World War III, and we have been for a long time, and it's a sad, sorry-ass situation. So that's the solving of the World War II mystery riddle. And as things escalate, we have to get into position. And I'm going to be on the winning side, as I always planned for. I prepared. I was a prepper from before it was called preppering. I was looking at this as a war before everyone ever thought it was a war. Why, do you know back in 1985, no one would say we're in the middle of a war. Most people were just like, yeah, la-di-da-di-da-di-da, nothing's really going on. But when it comes to you, if it comes to your doorstep, and most of the people, don't need to hear this, but all the people who aren't listening, when it comes to their doorstep, when it comes right up into their face, they're not prepared. They haven't been aware. They haven't been realizing that the war is coming. It is coming. And there's going to be misery and suffering and karma for it until we wake up and unify around the right cause, the right priorities, and the right leaders to lead us through it. We do need leadership, I'm sorry to say. And anyone who's in the war, on whatever evil side that they're on, whatever partial side of truth that they're on, they know darn well that they're following a leader, or they are the leader. You got to follow someone to get through this. I think that's my final message. I can talk all about the history and, try to be an armchair philosopher on this, but the main thing, philosophy that needs to be realized and activated in you is that you have to be led by somebody, or be that leader yourself. See what I'm saying? It's not just randomly going to be solved. These people that are just, it's worse than being an airy-fairy, hippy-dippy-trippy. You can't solve the problem like that. You can't be like, well, I don't know if World War III has begun. Nothing in the news says that for sure. The official politician hasn't declared it. Well, I guess I'll wait. I don't know who I'm following. You better know who you're following. And who's coming to lead you and tell you what needs to be done. That time is drawing very, very, very near. Thanks for listening. You know what I mean.